Hey guys, so you might have seen a video we made last year that showed you a sports day at a school in Japan. So this year we're going to show you more of a behind the scenes look at the sports day because we think there might be a couple of things that someone might find amusing. The school had advised parents that the sports day, the first event, was going to start at 9:30 in the morning. The gates would be open at 6 and no one was to be near the sports grounds until 6:30. So at the moment it's 20 past 6. There are about 200 parents waiting to go onto the grounds. At exactly 6:30 there was an announcement and then a teacher blew a whistle. And as soon as they blew the whistle, the parents started running. And they've all got these big pieces of plastic and they've got tents and they've got trolleys that are full of tables and chairs. And this behaviour, if those people watching this video who live in Japan would recognise this type of behaviour, because the laying out of the pieces of plastic is also done before festivals quite often. So if there's going to be a fireworks show or something like that, quite often local people will go and lay out their piece of plastic early in the morning and then come back at night to watch the fireworks, and their piece of plastic will be right where they live. Oh yeah, by the way, we greeted about 10 people or more, probably 10 or 12 people during the morning. Only 2 of them responded, which, considering everybody's parents at the same school, usually people respond, but they sort of get into this crowd, every man for himself, every person for himself type mindset. So you've already heard a couple, you're about to hear another one. Have a listen to this.
Just morning.
So the old guy's actually talking to himself. There was no answer, just the staring straight ahead. Just the staring straight ahead. And the people next to this position, this is the location we picked out, and the people next to us were actually backing up to us with their big sheet of plastic to sort of, so they didn't have to look at us, they were backing up towards us to try and sort of push themselves over as far as possible and keep us as far as possible away. Just ruthless. Those of you who live in Japan will recognise this if you've travelled on the train systems in Tokyo or any of the other big cities. You know, quite often the door to the train opens and 10 people get on the train and there might be 2 seats free because 2 people have just got off. Or everyone's standing on the train and the train stops at a station and 2 people get off and that leaves 2 free seats. And it's surprising how polite Japanese people usually are with after you, after you. If it's just you and one other Japanese person, usually they'll say, oh, after you, sucking goes off. But when there's a group doing something like this, everyone goes into this group mode. It possibly comes, any group of people, any country in the world are a little bit the same, aren't they? When you have crowd behaviour is generally different from individual behaviour. And there's been studies done on that. We know that from our security background that there's been studies done on that. So that is true around the world. But it does seem to be this thing in Japan because there's big numbers of people living in small spaces. When it comes to things like this, they have their ruthless little ways, So keep in mind, it's still only 20 to 7 in the morning. The first event's not till 9:30. So they set all these things up and sort of guarantee their space and then go home and finish getting ready and having their breakfast and doing other things. So I won't show you much of the kids stuff because we did that last year. You saw that last year. If you missed that one, it's possibly on the how-to playlist because of the thing with kids. Oh, here's another thing thought you might find interesting. So lots of people in Japan have little stools like that they use to wash their cars. To reach the roof of their cars when they wash their cars, they often have little stools or little 2 or 3 step ladders. So quite common for them to bring those little 2 or 3 step ladders to events like this. And again, it's that crowd thing, big crowds of people and they want to get their heads over the top of the crowd. with their big cameras, with the big zoom lenses. Like paparazzi, isn't it? The little village over there. Interesting too, the tents were almost empty most of the day, which means if the school actually banned tents, then there wouldn't be any need for the big fight because there'd be more than enough space. The reason there's a space issue is because those big tents take up a lot of space and it's only 2 or 3 people sitting in them. So take the tent out of the story and there'd be a lot more space. So it's the end of the day, it's time to pack it all up and go. So it's only a 5-hour event. There's no real need for the tents and the tables and the chairs and the ladders and the huge coolers and all the other stuff that goes with it, but it's just what they do. Those trolleys with the wheels are really common too. We often see those in parks and at the beaches and things as well, for people to transport all their equipment, their little portable home away from home. And of course all the etiquette is relevant too. People lay down the plastic and they take their shoes off before they sit on the plastic. Just treat it like they would their own house, you know. Shoes come off before you sit on the plastic. Everyone does that. So anyway, hopefully something was mildly entertaining out of all that. More videos coming soon.